everyone. Good morning to you. It's 8 o'clock on the start of a Tuesday morning. Glad you're with us to start the day. Glad you're here with us, Taylor Epps.
Isn't it always a joy? It's so much fun. I mean, the Cuppies know this is how you start your day, right? So whenever I get to come in and hang out, it's always so much fun.
Now, Taylor, you and I were talking yesterday when you were here for work, and you said in particular there was one thing that you really need to discuss with the Cuppies.
The Cuppies know when I was here over the holidays, and I was here like 2 weeks ago, I talk about there's one thing I don't do.
Returns.
And it's return.
So what happened?
I hate to say to the Cuppies. So Zara had a crazy sale the other day.
Okay.
Wild sale.
At the mall.
Yes, Zara at the Walton Galleria had a sale. I mean, I'm talking dresses for like $10, jeans for $10.
Wow.
I just had to go to get a dress for an event that I was going to on Friday. I walked in there and I spent $65 because
That's not bad.
on 3 dresses, a top, and jeans.
Wow, that's amazing.
$65. Incredible.
Yeah.
One of those, I didn't look. There's like a rip in the zipper, and it just didn't fit right. So now I have to return the dress, and I can't. You guys know I hate making returns. I can't be bothered. I almost kept it because
No way.
it's in my car right now. I brought it
Okay.
in my car so that if there's a chance that I'm by the Galleria within the next 30 days, then I can just go right over.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking of going to a movie on Thursday or Friday when I'm off.
Mhm.
At the Galleria, and then if I'm already there, it's already in my car and I can go.
Smart
but I
thinking.
refuse to like make a trip out of my home just to make a return.
Okay, I get that. Well, but here we are. I mean, this is like a brand new day and age for you, Taylor Epps.
I would only tell the Cuppies this. I would only have this conversation here. Don't tell anyone I know.
Best kept secret.
But I'll let you know how it goes and if I get my money back.
Okay, 2 things we want to talk about this morning. Are you getting up, getting ready to take your kids to school, or are you getting ready to put them on the bus? Because as it turns out, a lot fewer people are using the school bus than they have in years past. As a matter of fact, this is the fewest, I guess, number of people, the least amount of people using a school bus in history.
The first time that the number of people taking a private car has surpassed the number of people
Right.
taking a school bus, which is so interesting to think about because we all think about it like growing up, you know, it's that big yellow bus, everyone gets on, everyone makes the ride to school. It seems like maybe it was so simple back in the day, like we were able to figure it out, but it's gotten so complicated over the years with the times, the bus driver shortage. It's like so much tougher now to just get on the bus.
So Melly says, Melly, good morning. Most days my son gets dropped off and I always pick him up. Buses are insanely late and drivers are just loco, she says. Julie, good morning. My children are more mature than me. Mary says, I walked until high school. So it turns out that according to the Federal Highway Administration, more than half of kids in the country were either driven to school by a parent or a grandparent or whomever, or drove themselves to school in 2022. I think that's fascinating. I never took a school bus in all of my my high school, undergraduate. Well, I mean, like you would never take a bus, but you know what I mean. In high school, no, I lived so close to the school that we either just walked, and then as I was a senior or junior in high school, I had my own car, so I just drove to school.
We weren't allowed to drive to school in my high school.
Really?
We didn't have a parking lot for students, but there was a private road off to the side that people would just do it anyway, and then we get stuck in the dirt road. But yeah, my dad drove me one year because my pickup time was way too early. It was like 5 a.m, and he was like, well, I'll just drive you in this case. But for the others, I ended up taking the bus. It wasn't too bad.
Sarah says, my son goes to school in Buffalo and they pay me to drive him.
Oh,
That's
right?
great.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which I would anyways because he's 2, and that's a long drive from Hamburg to downtown. So Sarah, walk me through what that decision-making process was for you. I'm super interested in it. Are they paying you enough for gas? Or if you don't mind me asking, how much are they paying you? This is a fascinating conversation.
Yeah. You never would have thought if you would have told my parents they were going to get paid for it, they would have done it in a heartbeat. This is crazy.
Yeah, Anita says, I never took a school bus either. Our district didn't even have buses. Connie says, we walked till middle school, then we got the bus. Melly, though, says, I've never gotten paid for driving my son to Buffalo schools. She missed that online, I assume. Crystal says, mine takes the bus. Let me go to Crystal's comment here. Where's Crystal?
Crystal.
There it is. Mine takes the bus unless they don't show up, then I drive her. And then Sarah says they pay her a few $100 a month.
Nice. I'll drive some kids to school
No
for a few
kidding.
$100 a month.
Sarah, how did you get that? What did you have to do? What kind of hoops or hurdles did you have to jump through or over to get paid to drive your son to school?
Melly says it wasn't her. She did sign up and she did everything.
Right.
And just never got the checks.
Wow, that is so interesting. A few $100 a month. That could go a long
That's a
way.
huge difference. I mean, for Melly to be getting it and to not be getting it and Sarah to be getting it, I mean, there's the discrepancy there.
Now, keep in mind, of course, you're driving from Hamburg to Buffalo to
Yeah.
drop your child off. But hey, if you work in the city of Buffalo, this might be a golden opportunity for you to really jump on and get some cash in the long run.
Yeah. Very
Wow.
interesting. So I wonder if more districts might start paying parents. And then do you see a world where like there are no school buses?
Right.
But there's some kids who need it. I mean, who may not have any other way to get to school.
Well, we know, of course, that there is such a bus driver shortage, not only in Western New York, but across the country. Howard says, I've been in the busing business for 43 years. Out in the country, you have to ride a bus. Safest form of transportation, he says. And then, we were talking about how some school bus drivers were speeding and blowing through stop signs earlier this morning. But then we spoke with somebody else who says, look, this is like, this is not always happening.
There are good cops, there are bad cops.
Exactly.
There are good bus drivers, there are bad bus drivers, not all made equal, but there are bus drivers who work really hard and have had this job for years and do a fantastic job getting the kids to and from.
So Carol says, waiting for the school bus for my grandson. I walked to grammar school and took the NFTA for high school, that public transportation. Crystal, sometimes I can't drive her with my work schedule. I don't have time. That makes sense. And then Sarah, okay. Thank you, Sarah, for chiming in here, because I like your story is fascinating to me, and I'm so glad that we can uplift your voice here. This is like a really specific situation. He's in early intervention and goes to Buffalo Hearing and Speech downtown. It's in the Buffalo Public School District, but I'm sure the district is huge, so it's probably worth it to have parents drive.
I wonder if they'll start doing it more. I wonder if they'll lay out more groundwork for this. I can see it being I mean, if this is the first year that more people are driving than riding the bus, then I can only imagine it'll grow.
Barbara, good morning. Both of our grandsons have been forgotten by bus drivers at school. One goes to Buffalo Public School, the other to Cheektowaga. Then their parents are required to get them, and the school is not close to home, and they don't drive. So Cheektowaga takes an Uber to get him. Wow.
An Uber to go to school. Imagine that. Imagine kids that you're getting the Uber to get to and from school.
Well, and talk about the cost. I mean, that's expensive. You're talking about maybe $25 to and from.
During rush hour,
right?
Sure. Yeah.
As opposed to using the school bus, which, as somebody mentioned earlier this morning, that's a taxpayer expense. So you're already paying for the school bus, but not using it.
That's wild.
Grace says, yes, not all of them speed down the street, but there's a few at our school that speed. And then Kim wondering, how is it saving money paying parents to take their kids? Can I be a parent to one of your kids? So here's the savings, really. I mean, look, you're paying bus drivers a certain amount of money per year, right? Like they're making a salary. If there's a shortage,
there's fewer bus drivers to pay that money.
Exactly.
Just pay, which is, I'm assuming, a fraction of that to parents.
But then Howard says busing is a huge expense. In the school budget, you need to use it. It also saves on pollution and traffic congestion. And then Melly says, yeah, look at the one that got arrested yesterday. That's we're talking about in St. Mary's, I believe, right?
Mount Mercy.
Mount Mercy, thank you. Apparently, the bus driver, according to police, was driving drunk during a ski club mission to Holiday Valley.
They went down to Holiday Valley, and then on the way back, they should have taken the 219, but ended up in Franklinville, and they ended up passing this country club, and the kids allegedly, got out of the car and went up to the country club and were like, come on, help us. And then they did a sobriety test on the bus driver, and
I mean, they were at Holiday Valley. That was my question to you this morning. Like, what do you think this driver was allegedly doing, right? So, I mean, when you put two and two together and like you kind of understand the story and you really start to parse things out, you're thinking, okay, she drove allegedly these kids down to Holiday Valley. What happened in the in-between? Like she got out of the bus
and went to the bar
allegedly, or did whatever she had to allegedly do, and
to get to the point where she would fail sobriety.
Right.
But driving a bus is hard enough. Driving a bus of kids and possibly being drunk. I mean.
Okay, so Howard says she wasn't a bus driver, so to speak. She was a teacher. There's a difference. Okay, perhaps even worse.
Absolutely, because she was, the one also supervising these students. I believe she was the head of the ski club.
All alleged, of course.
Yeah, I mean, as parents and grandparents, anyone who knows anyone, this is a scary story.
I mean, but thank goodness that there was somebody. I mean, they wound up in Ishiway. That's far.
Very far. And, all things considered, not really a hustling, bustling town at night. And this was at night. I mean, or this was when they were still open, but imagine if it had been later in the night. And there would have been no one to help them.
So, John, maybe, yeah, Grace, either way you look at it, that's ridiculous. You put the kids in danger. Marguerite, good role model. She's being sarcastic here. John, maybe you can put a link to Leah's story. Leah Lando actually spoke to the chef who helped these children in Issue. Thank goodness, as you mentioned, they were still open.
Right.
So you can see what he had to say for yourself as John puts that link in the comments.
Howard says this gives reputable bus drivers a bad name. That's what we were saying earlier this morning. You know, they're not all bad, obviously.
Right.
But it is hard to find people who want to do the job, because if you have your CDL, you can go get paid a lot more money to do a lot of other jobs. So it's tough. There's that link there. But I want to go back to Jeanette's comment. She says, walk. We all need to walk more. Come on, back in the day, look at Europe. Everyone walks everywhere, and it really is a nice experience. I don't find Buffalo to be walkable, or the Western New York area.
Well, and that's the whole thing too. So especially like if you're living, a lot of schools aren't community-based schools anymore in Western New York. We're seeing a few more come on every now and then, you know, like North Park, for instance. They have a community-based school. So the people who go to that school, exactly.
Like on Tacoma or something, you can walk right over, whatever.
Right.
But like, you know, if you lived like in my apartment building, I live like off of Fillmore. If I had to go walk to a school, like I would pass a lot of stuff that I wouldn't want to pass. I don't know.
Oh, Lauren. Hi, Lauren. Good morning. Oh, this is my sister-in-law, Rosalie, my niece.
Okay, Rosalie is so stinking cute.
Isn't
that
she
full
beautiful?
head of hair.
Oh my God, I know.
She's adorable.
She says Rosalie's wearing a shirt that says "Cool like my uncle."
Best.
Can you send me a picture? Who got her that shirt? Because her uncles are pretty cool.
The coolest.
Okay, so Uncle Eric is super cool. Uncle Eric is a Buffalo police officer. We love Eric.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Uncle Russell is, of course,
our legend.
Gorgeous, beautiful, handsome, smart, talented.
Uncle Ed.
Uncle Ed is
famous.
The best uncle. Let's talk about love languages this morning. Do you have one?
Do you have
several?
So there are 5 of them, and they are words of affirmation. You know, you want to hear the I love yous. You look great today. I'm proud of you. They are acts of service. This is, you know, doing a chore that you would have done yourself. They do this for you. Very helpful. Receiving gifts. Obvious. The best. Quality time. Sitting down, watching movies, something like that. And then physical touch, of course.
So what are yours?
So I am a big quality time and receiving gifts person, which makes me sound shallow, but I just think it's really incredible to know that someone knows me well enough to get me a really good gift. I'm a good gift giver, and I love giving gifts.
You're thoughtful about it.
When someone gives me a gift that I really enjoy, like I just feel very cared for and I feel loved. And then quality time is about, that's my number one. If we like go and do something together and share an experience, that's number one. Now on the bottom for me would be words of affirmation, because men lie and like everyone lies. And it's nice to hear every once in a while. It's like in the middle, you know, that they care about you and all these things, but like, how do you know you can trust it? And then acts of service, I don't really know how to accept that. I don't know.
Okay, so I am a words of affirmation person and I am a gifts person. I absolutely love, you're right, when somebody thinks deep and really understands what makes you tick and says, hey, I just bought this for you. Like, and that, it could be the most minor things in the entire world.
A bouquet of flowers, a chocolate, anything.
And randomly, right? Like it's sprinkled in. It's not expected. It's just something, hey, I thought of you today and I thought you might like this. That makes me like warm and fuzzy inside.
Love a good gift.
And all of a sudden I want to like jump your bones. You know what I mean?
It's the Taurus in us. It's the Taurus in
Yes.
the two of us, literally. When it comes time to our birthdays are both in April. If we're not getting the gifts, what's happening?
Right.
Like, I don't want you to do my chores for my birthday. Like, show me you love me.
Okay,
Give
and
me
then
those gifts.
words of affirmation. I need to hear like, wow, I'm really proud of you. Or like, you did a great job on that. And that meant so much to me.
Okay, now there's different kinds of love languages for relationships and then for friends and family. I need words of affirmation for my friends and family because I trust them enough to trust their words. And I need to hear from like my parents, oh, I love you, I'm proud of you, and my friends. But from like a significant other, like, I don't know, I'm not really into.
Okay, so Melly says, it's just something. I agree 100%. Exactly. Or like have a deeper thought. I love deep thinking people. Anita says, mine is words of affirmation. Right. You just need to hear it sometimes and say, hey, I love you so much because. Linda says, hubby and I decided not to give gifts to each other. We're always buying stuff for each other and we don't need anything after all these years. Okay, but don't you feel like you want to be thought of?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be like stuff that, you know, gets cluttered in the back of the house and ends up in the basement somewhere. But if it's a gift that you really like, then you can use it.
Lori says, I love to compliment people and I'm a gift giver. Karen says, I can't wait to get this one day. Karen, you'll get there. Hey, John, are you back there?
I saw him walk. I think he went back into
Okay,
the studio.
I just need to flip the switch. I'm dying of the heat here. It was cold for a while. Now it's warm.
It's back to it. Kelsey says chocolate is her love language.
Ooh,
That's a
love
great gift
that.
to receive.
Yeah, to that point, Lauren, I bought Brian Reese hearts for Valentine's Day. Don't watch this, Brian. But it turns out that when researchers look at the 5 love languages, they say that these really aren't valid anymore as the languages focus on traditional heterosexual couples. Okay, so I am going to say this. As a gay, I don't think this is true. Here's why. Because everyone has a love language.
Words of affirmation don't have a sexual orientation.
Exactly.
It's just.
So I kind of think it's a little bit of bogus nonsense here. But what they're saying is both partners' relationship values are equally important, and it shouldn't just be one-sided when they say like happy wife, happy life. But look, yes, please. Men, you know that happy wife, happy life is true.
Yeah.
Ladies, you know that happy wife, happy life is also
is
true.
what you live by. And they're also saying that like pitting them against each other, like ranking them and saying this is my number 1 and this is my number 5 is counterintuitive, right? That they're all equal and everyone needs all of them. But there are things that you may not necessarily need. Like I don't need anyone to do acts of service for me. Like I don't want you to do things I had on my to-do list or any kind of work for me. Like that kind of makes me feel awkward. I would not like that. That would not endear me towards someone. I would rather get a gift or spend quality time. You don't need to like take my trash out. Like,
so
do it.
Kim says my husband goes to the store and brings me something knowing I need my coffee creamer. He's right on it. After 43 years, he knows what I like. Love that.
See, like that's an act of service I can get behind. Like if you know that I need
like
something.
A gift though too.
That feels, sometimes they blur on the line. Like I think sometimes they're acts of service, something like that. That's
sure.
Nice. I thought of you when I was at the store and I know that you like this, so I'll get that for you. Incredible.
So, Jeanette says, I really enjoy just a very nice card and a simple hug.
The
We
best.
love each other every day, a kiss before work, but a simple card and a kiss in the morning. That is sweet.
Yeah.
Bonnie, I would buy my husband from Cone King a heart ice cream cone. He would buy me a bouquet of roses and dark chocolate. Lauren, men get grumpy too, and we have to deal with them. So it's not only happy wife, happy life, it's happy husband.
You're all
happy life.
Yes. Sherry says she loves it when her husband details her car.
Ooh.
I can be down for that if that's an act of service.
Yes. Diane, take it back. Men are big babies.
Did you see what Jan says? She says your
dad does
all
it all. Yes.
All the love languages.
Carol says, I don't need gifts, but smile and thank you make me feel great. Yes, like you feel appreciated, right?
I mean, this is the person, granted, you're going to be spending probably most of your time with during the day, during the week. So when you're not having quality time, when you're not hearing from that person that, they appreciate you and they care about you, it starts to build a wedge between you. Like you need these, I mean, I'm sure there's more than these 5 things, right? Like you need a bunch of other things to maintain a healthy relationship. But in order to make sure that you're staying connected, you need to hear these things.
Okay, so Melly says, y'all are making me jealous. Okay, but then take Melly what Diane is saying, that men are big babies. Steve, Diane's husband, is a fantastic man. He is the nicest person in the entire world.
Yeah.
He'll chat with you about anything. Then Diane's son, Brian, Lauren's husband rather, also the nicest person in the entire world, a saint. And he has to put up with Lauren.
Cracking up. Marguerite says men are babies, especially when they're sick. Not a time when you.
Because her father-in-law is the best.
The best. See,
he sure is.
We're shutting down the rumors.
Lauren says my hubby cooks for me. Oh gosh. See, this is why we love Second Cup, because we can genuinely have these open and honest conversations.
I'm obsessed. Barbara says I love gifts and giving gifts too, but I truly said thank you for the gift cards recently for my birthday and just bought some necessities that I wouldn't ask for from someone. So
yeah,
she said, it doesn't have to, reinvent the wheel and be the best gift that you ever got. We don't need the Rolex every year.
No.
We just
I need a Folex every now and then.
Yeah, why not? Like, just show me you're thinking about me. Show me you care. Like, that's what it's all about.
Speaking of Rolexes, how about financial literacy?
I don't have any.
No, me neither. I like to spend money.
I love spending money, and I'm trying now to be on it. This is one of my big goals for this year is to be better with my money, make sure I'm saving, and really prepare myself for I'm getting up there. I'm going to be 26 soon.
Girl, please.
I need to plan for my life, Ed. I need to make sure
a good 12 years on you. You're fine.
I'm feeling like I need to have things together. My mother is so kind to me and helps me out a lot, but I want to I want to be good. I want to make sure I have everything together. So I'm trying to work on this, but younger than 25, there's kids in high school who are getting ready for taxes and making sure they have their budgets together, credit, and all these kinds of things that I learned about from my mom or, not till college.
Well, so what do you think? Should the state mandate financial literacy courses in high schools across the state? Akron already doing that, and they're serving kind of as the model for other districts to really put this into action. And the controller, Tom DiNapoli, and others are saying that this is really important. 75% of American teenagers don't really understand personal finances.
Yeah.
3/4 of those people say that they've learned from their parents who, let's face it,
Probably
may not
learned.
have financial
Right.
literacy skills.
Mm.
Sherry says yes. Karen says yes.
Yeah.
Then on the topic of financial literacy, Kelsey says, do you have a Stanley? Do I need one? Talk me out of it. The only reason I want one is the name. I'm terrible.
I'm no better than you, girl. I'm a big name brand girly, but I have a Simply Modern. They have them at Marshalls sometimes, and they have them on Amazon, whereas the Stanley is like $45. Simply Modern is like $25, $30. It does the same thing. I love my Simply Modern. But like, girl, if you want it, and if you want to spend a little $50 on your water bottle, I support you. They'll last through a fire.
Peter says absolutely have those finance courses in school. Look, I think had I had one, it would have just gone such a long way.
So when did you learn? And when did you learn to do these kinds of things? When did you find out, I should be building credit? When did you learn, I have to handle my taxes? What age were you at when you were like getting
I don't even
literate?
know. Like my parents, my mom and dad were always very cost savings aware. They were always diligent in saving money, but my dad is very financially minded. Russ is very financially minded. So I think, once I started dating Russ, probably 5 or 6 years ago at this point, it was probably 6 years ago, I think.
Good influence.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, he's brilliant when it comes to money. And,
You need someone like that.
right. And he just kind of runs the finances in the house, which is fine. But keeping up with him is very hard.
Yeah, my mom growing up, I mean, like this was a mantra that we had. She would say, always have your own. And I'd be like 6 and I'd be like, money.
Right.
I'm trying my best to stay on it, Mom, but it's hard to manage. I mean, we always talk about the days of inflation and how much we're paying for everything. And then when places like Target exist, just asking me to give all my money away, how am I supposed to save or know what I need to do and pay off credit card bills? And it's so crucial to figure all that out before it gets too late, and then you rack up all this debt and you are in too deep.
John, definitely need life skills classes back in the curriculum. Yeah. And Barbara says they need to teach it because I've seen adults that cannot balance a bank book, which also blows my mind. How do you not know how to balance a checkbook?
My mom taught me how to do that too.
Yeah.
Where else would I have learned that though? Like my mom took me to the bank when I was in high school. I mean, shout out to Gina for her help, but if I was learning this in high school, and some of the classes I took in high school were so dumb. I took a computing for college class where they just had us write our college essays and we did nothing. That's where we could have sat and learned how to balance a checkbook, and it would have been so much more helpful.
Who uses a checkbook? Welcome to 2024, right?
I used to pay my rent by check.
Now it's all Venmo and a tap of the credit card. Listen, before we leave, and I'm seeing a couple of comments here, and I just want to at least have the conversation. Toby Keith.
Oh yeah, a lot of RIPs in the chat for Toby Keith. It's so sad to hear something like that. Just kind of devastating. 62 years old, stomach cancer. He'd been battling for a while, and the news came out on his social media pages this morning. Red Solo Cup was the song that I knew him.
Me too.
I know Katie would be so
devastated.
Oh gosh, if Katie were here, you guys, she would be like, ugh. She'd be the one to talk to you guys.
I saw John and Diane weighing in here talking about how he should rest in peace. Yeah, may his memory be a blessing. Diagnosis like that really takes a toll on your body, and you could tell that it was taking a toll on his.
I know, and some of the pictures of more recently of him. I mean, look at him there. I mean, happy, healthy, holding the Red Solo Cup.
Yeah.
So it's really sad when you see that.
62 years old, though, stomach cancer. They posted on his social media pages that he had his friends and family with him. He was surrounded by love. And when you consider, as Peter says, you just hear not long ago that he had cancer, you realize how devastating this disease really is, which is why it's so important to participate in things like the ICE cycle, the 11-day power play, all of that benefiting cancer research.
And to talk about these kinds of things, because you never know when something like this can happen, but it can pop up in your family. Kim says, so sad, what a great singer. And Julie says, that's very scary. So of course we're thinking about his family.
Listen, thank you so much for being with us here on Second Cup. We appreciate you each morning. We got to get back on TV. And right, as Barbara says, a reminder to live your life every single day.
See
You
guys.
do the same. Have a great day.